You know, recently, today, I bought Suicide Squad Hell to Pay, which is the latest offering from DC's original animated universe. The reason I bring this up is because of the fact that you may not know this, but I'm a huge fan of the DC animated universe. I really am. I'm a huge fan. I believe that out of all the movies, I got a majority of them. And in case you don't believe me, DC and Warner Brothers have decided this past year to release an anniversary Blu-ray set back in November with all the animated films up to date at that time. And with a few missing, I believe I have a majority of them so far, now including, like I said, Suicide Squad Hell to Pay. But the reason I bring this up is because it's kind of ironic to think about this, but with season 9 supposedly the last season of My Little Pony Friendship is Magic, do you think there is a slight, and I mean slight, possibility that Hasbro would take a page out of Warner Brothers and DC's book and decide to, create original animated direct-to-video films based on My Little Pony? Do you think they would do that? Well, let's look at it this way. The creative staff there lately, over the past several years, has kind of learned to, when they don't have their head shoved up the you-know-what, aka episodes like aka, Fame and Misfortune, and even in a sense, Once Upon a Zeppelin, when they don't have their heads shoved up the you-know-whats, sometimes they can churn out some very decent stories. And sometimes the stories, sometimes the stories are dedications to the fan base themselves. Slice of life, if you will, Stranger Than Fan Fiction, and a few others, if not several others. But then also they have a tendency to sometimes take pop culture references and make a story out of them, or even create a title for an episode out of them down the line. And maybe one of the best examples this past weekend of that would be Granny's Gone Wild. That, as a matter of fact, Anthropony just tweeted on his Twitter that YouTube is going to review his analysis look at the episode because of the title, Granny's Gone Wild, which, believe it or not, kids may not know this, but the adult fan base, the Bronies, the Pegasus Sisters, they know what it's about. They know what that title's a play on. They know that title, Granny's Gone Wild, is a play on the adult series of videos of the late 90s and 2000s, Girls Gone Wild. Yeah, that's exactly what the title, Granny's Gone Wild, is a play on. Now, true, the show somewhat is paying homage to the Golden Girls. With Granny Smith and her group called the Golden Horseshoe Gals. So that's nice of them to do. But still, the title could have been a little bit better. They could have just called it the Golden Horseshoe Gals. Or Rainbow Dash Goes to Las Pegasus. And it would have worked better because you still could have said that you still could have wrote the same, you could have still had the same story, you just have a more proper title. But the reason I bring this up, because everybody that's done a review on this so far pretty much acknowledges that, yeah, DHX, Hasbro, you could have came up with a better title. This is probably one of the riskiest titles you've ever come up with, even if it's a play-on title. But, with that said, when I look at that, and I look what they've done in the past and maybe even in the future, it makes me wonder, would Hasbro and DHX ever take the chance, Hasbro at least, ever take the chance of doing direct-to-video animated features on My Little Pony, Friendship is Magic? At least set in the Friendship is Magic world. Or adapted or inspired or starring the characters. Now, some of you might say, well, of course Hasbro would probably do that. Whether or not they do it during Generation 5, which hopefully, in my opinion, as I said, is a soft retcon reboot of Friendship is Magic. Basically, same continuity, same somewhat new story arc, whatever, but basically in the same continuity. You want a good example of what I'm talking about? Check out Beast Machines, which is basically a soft retcon reboot of Beast Wars. Basically, it's the same continuity, same characters and all that. It's just that things have been softly retconned and rebooted due to a freak situation. And I've come up with the idea, as I've said many times, that you could end the last episode on a whiteout, have the words say to be concluded in the new series, or whatever it will be called, and then have fans tune into that first episode of the new series and see the aftermath, see the characters possibly have changed races, see that the lands of Equestria are now not just lands anymore, but planets, and off to the races you go. Because then you would have a full story arc there of the characters trying to get things back to normal, back to the way they were. But that is depending on what Generation 5 will be like. And whether or not it is, or it's a clean slate, still one has to wonder and ask the question, as one has to wonder and ask this question. And that is, would Hasbro take a page out of DC and Warner Brothers books, and maybe even Marvel, because Marvel does this on occasions too, but not as proliferant, whatever the word is, prolifically as Warner Brothers and DC. And that is, would they make direct-to-video animated feature films based on Friendship is Magic, based in the world of Friendship is Magic, somewhat inspired by the Friendship is Magic world, maybe just adaptations of stories or whatever, and have the characters in different roles, maybe adapt certain story arcs, what have you. Would they do it? And again, like I said earlier, a lot of fans would agree that yes, they would. They probably would do that. But what if they would have taken it a step further? What if they would have taken it a step further to the point that they decided, by taking a page out of Warner Brothers and DC's book, they decide that some of their animated films would warrant a PG-13 rating. Yeah, think about that. If they're doing an animated film that is connected to Friendship is Magic, but is an original story and is meant for the more older audience, do you think they would do it? Some people have said that the elements that were shown, some people have said that some of the moments in the recent MLP movie seemed a little bit more mature and a little bit more darker than expected, which is, I guess, why it was warranted a PG rating. But still, it surprised a lot of people of how mature and how dark some of these moments were. So one has to wonder, what if they were to take that tenfold? What if they were to up the ante a little bit? Now, I'm not talking about going to R-rated territory, oh heck no, but more along the lines of PG and PG-13 films. Do you think they would do it? Do you think, as sort of a side project, they would do movies based around the world of Friendship is Magic, whether the original titles or adaptations of, let's say, novels, junior novels, or comic book arcs, or what have you? Do you think they would do it? In my honest opinion, because I know you're probably wondering, what are your thoughts, Brian? I think they would. I think, honestly, if Hasbro has the opportunity and they see money that can be made out of it, they would. They would take the opportunity. And knowing that they got an adult fan base, there is no doubt that they would probably, if they wanted to, turn out some not only PG-rated MLP movies, direct-to-video that is, but maybe on occasions they would even churn out some MLP PG-13 rated films. Yeah, I think they would do it. Because one, by doing this, you acknowledge the success that MLP FIM has had, and the influence it's had, and the pop cultural impact that it's had, but you also acknowledge the impact, the pop cultural impact that this adult fan base of the MLP community, the Friendship is Magic community, the Analysis, the Secret Rift Cafe, the Bronies and the Pegasus Sisters have had on this series by releasing and by creating and releasing on occasion several, not many, but several PG-13 rated MLP direct-to-video animated films. And you know what would happen? Hasbro would make a bundle. Because, let's be honest, PG makes money. PG is more marketable. No doubt about it. We all can be honest about that. That's why a lot of people are looking at PG as the new G in the generation of movies. You get the occasional G once in a while, but people are now looking at PG as G. But with that said, like I said, people know that that's more marketable. But what's even more marketable than a PG-rated film? How about PG-13? Because the higher the rating, the little bit more you can get away with. Now, true, you could still keep it family-friendly. Several PG-13 rated films in the past several years have been noted as family films, even though they're rated PG-13. Want good examples of that? Try the so-called Michael Bay Ninja Turtles. These are movies that easily could have PG ratings, but they don't. Because they have a few things in there that are not PG warranted or PG friendly. That's why they got a PG-13 rating. But the question is, would Hasbro do it? Would they do it? And again, my honest opinion, my honest answer is I think they would. I think a majority of the direct-to-video My Little Pony Friendship is Magic movies that they would make, if they decided to do it, would be mostly PG. But I think on occasions, just like Warner Brothers has done with DC, they would at least try to turn out one or two PG-13 movies along with the PG. For example, I could see them doing maybe 2 PGs and 1 PG-13 a year, and that's it. And that would work out fine. Because as everybody knows, the higher the rating, like I said, the more you can get away with. But do you think they could do it? Do you think they would do it? In my honest opinion, like I said, yes, I think they would. But what about you? Do you think they would? Do you think they would actually take the chance, knowing that there's money to be made with a higher rated movie? What are your thoughts? I'll give you mine in closing. I think if they were to do this, I think they should start doing it if they were to do it. I think they should start doing it right after season 9 begins. Or basically around, here's what I think. If they were deciding to do it, not saying they would, not saying they won't, but if I was Hasbro and DHX and I wanted to go this direction, I would start planning it right at the end of season 8 and start churning out my first couple of movies by at least the beginning of at least in the middle of season 9, and at least around the middle of season 9 and towards the end of season 9 and at the beginning of Gen 5, and possibly season 10 if they wait on Gen 5. You see what I'm saying? I would start planning to do it now, so that by at least the end of season 8 into season 9, I possibly have something ready to go to be released by the middle of season 9 and the end of season, as well as at the end of the season, and possibly at the beginning of the 10th season if they decide to go a decades-long run with the show, or at least at the beginning of Gen 5. That's how I would do it. That's how I would plan it out. But what are your thoughts? What do you think they would do? How do you think they should approach it if they decide to go in that direction? Let me know what you guys think down below. I'd like to hear from you guys. Let me know what you think. How do you think they should work it out if they decide to go in that direction? And do you think they will go in that direction? Do you think they would chance it? Let me know down below. Comment if you like. I'd like to hear from you. And that's all I'm going to say. And I'll talk to y'all later. God bless. Take care.